Hello everybody, it's Wednesday, January 17th, the day before Magfest, and I just woke up and I'm gonna shave, shower, have some food, finish packing, get all my electronics together to pack, then gonna wait until it's time for me to leave for the airport. Then I'm gonna wait until my flight's ready. Then I'm gonna fly off to Maryland for Magfest, which I've been going to for 10 years at this point. I haven't gone there 10 times because there was one year where I was sick really bad, and do I even need to bring up the longest time of our lives, starting around February of 2020? Yeah, I didn't think so. So yeah, I'm gonna do all the things I mentioned before, and I'm gonna see you guys maybe at the airport or at my hotel that I'm staying at. So let's get started then. I'm dressed, I'm showered, shaved, got my stuff together. Now it's off to the airport, which is probably going to be like an hour or so of waiting, who knows, but I'll be up in the air soon and heading to Maryland. Well, let's go, ladies and gents. Made it through security, now waiting at the gate for my flight. It's delayed right now, and yeah, it's gonna be a long wait, so if I don't seem into it right now, it's because security was nuts. Had to go through it twice because of... It's no fault of theirs, it's just I'm a little annoyed because it just took a while and it could have been done better, but yeah.
TSA is paging Jack Selby. Jack Selby, please return to security checkpoint A and reclaim your lost paperwork. Again, TSA is paging Jack Selby. Please return to security checkpoint A and reclaim your lost paperwork.
Sorry about that. I'm going to be hearing that for the next while, so yeah, I'll see you either when I land in DC or when I get to my hotel room. Laters. Lord, this is taking forever.
please prepare for departure.
In the movies with less build up than this. Sorry for that lens flare. That's a lot of cars. Almost looks like Monopoly down there. I think that's enough. I'll see you guys at the hotel. So I made it to my hotel room after a long day. Yeah, today wasn't fun. But on the upside, my hotel room looks cool. And I even have a sink that's like this. Yeah, I got nothing. I'm not in the mood right now, so I might see you tomorrow. I might not. I posted a video about that because my day today was not fun. So, if there's more to this, I'll see you guys later. If not, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
The next morning.
Well, it's time for day one of Magfest. I'm gonna go get some breakfast at my hotel, then come back up here, and to be honest, sleep a little bit more, and yeah, then get ready for the convention. I'm gonna do all the things I just said, and I'll see you guys at the hotel. I mean, the convention. Yeah, I'll catch you guys there in a little bit. Well, I had breakfast, got my nap in, then woke up again, then I showered, I'm all dressed, I'm about to have lunch, then I'm gonna head over to the Gaylord and get my badge, and then we'll see from then. I'll see you when I get my badge, so let's go.
All your friends on the railway would like you all to see just how much fun a rockin' on the railway can be. So won't you come along and join them for the ride? Just hang on tight, catch your breath and come for the ride. I'm rockin' on the railway, rolling on the railway, I'm moving down the line, swinging. So wave from side to side, they'll be rocking and rolling. Won't you come for the ride of your life? Rocking on the railway, rolling on the railway, I'm moving down the line, swinging. So wave from side to side, they'll be rocking and rolling. Won't you come for the ride of your life? Now we're really moving to and fro. Everyone around shouting more, more, more. I can't get enough of these thrills. And just when you think you can't take anymore, you better hang on tight, 'cause here we go again. Slip, slide, come for the ride. Whoa, I'm rocking on the railway, rolling on the railway, I'm moving down the line, swinging. So wave from side to side, they'll be rocking and rolling. Won't you come for the ride of your life? I'm rocking on the railway, rolling on the railway, I'm moving down the line, swinging. So wave from side to side, they'll be rocking and rolling. Won't you come for the ride of your life? Oh, you'll be rocking and rolling. Won't you come for the ride of your life? Come for the ride.
Badge got. Resting now, then marketplace. You know the drill. See you then. I've been to zoos more or less chaotic than that place. Oy. Line was a mess, and then getting in could hardly look around at stuff because, like I said, more hectic than a zoo. So yeah, I'm just gonna be doing the same basis I usually do, and I'll record whatever it is I find interesting or anything, and we'll go from there. And hopefully one of these days, as in this weekend, I'll hopefully get some footage of the marketplace. Keyword hopeful. So anyway, I'm just resting, people watching, and snacking. Then I'm probably gonna walk around a little bit more, find something. I don't know what yet, but I'm just gonna, yeah, that's about it. So I'll see y'all when something interesting happens.
Many hours later.
Well, I said I'd record if there was something interesting, and it took a while, but it's happening, and I'm going to be upfront. If there's a Q&A, I'll stop recording at that point, but otherwise I might do the whole thing, which, hey, extra long video. Well, not really. I'm probably going to split these into separate parts. You're going to see in the time on the videos and the timestamp, but I gotta head to the panel, so I'll see you guys then. Enjoy!
Magfest is this? Raise your hands. Excellent. That's you. Please might raise the purple flirt. I can hear how bloody your my very first. And then you had a question for people as well.
Oh, yes. So, Neutron during its original run. Well, thank you all for coming to join us and spend an hour of Thursday Magfest talking about Jimmy Neutron.
Group therapy is a really great way to hear about everything. Hiding those wrinkles in your brain. So let's blast your brains. So, Jimmy Neutron was actually only on the air for about 3 seasons officially. Whoa. This is all of the canonical Jimmy that we've got. And we watched all of it so you didn't have to.
Well, again, I have some recommended episodes at the end, but let's just say I shotgunned off season 3 last weekend. So, I got it a little close.
I watched Carl give birth to a Metro last night. So it's thematic.
We're going to have a lot of things in here to hopefully reawaken some deep-seated memories within you from childhood,
Yeah.
as we did while we were watching this.
And YouTube did too. You can find clips of this. It's not the full episodes on there, but there's a lot of things we didn't notice as a kid, like how thirsty Carl is for older women. Chaos Agent Q was. Like all these things that we appreciate when we're older. But before we get into the meat of the Jimmy-verse, we wanted to give you a little bit of context as to how Jimmy came to come to us. And that started with
Phrasing. Boom.
computer animated television shows. Some of which you may or may not have seen. So this is just a smattering, like Reboot, which was on Toonami. A personal favorite of mine was the first half-hour computer animated TV series. Donkey Kong Country, which was in 1996, was the first half-hour computer animated TV series that used mocap for the characters. And then Beast Wars was a pretty, like, you know, it was on the air for a bit, and it won a Daytime Emmy in 1997.
Oh, word?
But there was one computer animated TV show that would open the Pandora's box and change the medium forever, and that was our good friend Jimbles, who was not Jimmy at first, but
What in the Pixar?
yeah, so this is where Jimmy begins. So writer-director John Davis came up with Jimmy's progenitor, Johnny Quasar, and started, this was his brainchild in the 80s, and initially it was an idea for a live-action show, but he couldn't get funding. He actually asked for academic funding for this, and he got it cleared. So this went into hibernation, and he didn't rediscover the project again until he moved in the 90s. But he thought it could work as a computer animated show since it was now more feasible in the 90s to do that. The technology had caught up. And his studio, which was DNA Productions, and Power, working on it. So this was a 40-second demo that was made for the SIGGRAPH conference, which some of my academic colleagues have been to, and it won Best in Show in 1995, and people were talking about it. Johnny Quasar, oh my God, this is gonna change everything. But the interesting thing with developing this is it caught the attention of the guy who did O Productions, at the end, that you hear at the end of Jimmy. So he pitched the idea to studios, and Nickelodeon was the first stop, and they took it. They took the bait, so they didn't have to go very far to pitch it. So Steve Odekirk has done a lot of stuff.
Well, have any of you guys seen Kung Pao?
That's him. He's the chosen one, but he also is a major producer on Jimmy Neutron. Which, now that you think about it, the jokes kind of have a little bit of that vibe to it. I don't like that. Well, I'm sorry.
So the next step, they had to change Jimmy's name because of licensing issues. They thought it was too close to Johnny Quest and another Quasar character. So they had to quickly come up with another name, and that became Jimmy Neutron. They changed him so he looked less like a middle-aged man. And you can see the parents don't look like the parents that we see. That changed. So they started working on the pilot in '95, but it wasn't done for several years due to revisions. It kind of got stuck in production hell for a while. And the pilot came out in '98, and Nickelodeon liked it, and they offered a show and a movie. They were like, this is big, this is different than any of the other animated stuff that we have. We're all in for Jimmy.
Well, and Jimmy kind of fit the Nickelodeon kid ideal they were going for at the time as well. So they're like, this is going to be a really good, marketable character. And they were right.
So the interesting thing about this, though, is that they actually they wanted to do it in reverse order, where they wanted to do a movie first, and then they wanted to do the show. Whereas other things like Rugrats, Hey Arnold, anything else was existing IPs in a TV show that people were familiar with. But they did it with this because they wanted to make the high-grade assets for the movie, do all the front work for that, and then they could apply that to the show. So the way the medium is the message, where they wanted to do the movie so that they had all the recyclable stuff later. But in the meantime, they had to figure out how are we going to introduce our good friend Jibbles to the children of America. And the way that they did that was different inserts that you might have remembered, overlays on some of your favorite Nicktoons shows where Jimmy would pop up and like do something like, I like the one with SpongeBob where he like changes the medium partway through the episode, or like other things like changing everybody's hair at Rugrats. And this was a collaboration with the other studios working on stuff. Like everybody had to be all in on Jimmy. So yeah, they introduced Jimmy with these things, the pilot, and then some shorts.
I remember
that were
those.
interspersed between things, some of which you might remember. This was a nascent memory for me.
This hit, so I found this.
Boy genius in hypercard.
Hey, young boy, you want a bowl? Huh? You want a treat? It's a hypercube, Goddard. This, I can store an infinite amount of stuff in this little tiny space. Cool, huh? Jimmy, dinner's ready. See you, boy.
Adios. Here you go, son. It's green corn. Good for the digestion.
Looks like somebody already digested.
I don't want to hear it, young man. Now eat. It's good for you.
Just pretend it's something really good. Delicious dinners. Anyway, honey, how was your day?
Well, I began to compressor on the old upstairs unit.
Oh, the one that made the boom sound?
Yes, only now it makes more of a squeaky sound.
Brilliant!
That was sure delicious. I am stuck.
Perhaps you can take a look at my car. Lately it's been making a sound.
Are you sure the tire isn't flat?
Only on the bottom. Is that a brain teacher puzzle? I'm so good at it. I used to be president of the brain teacher club in high school. Give me a try. Watch this.
Hey, don't do that. Don't do that.
I think I got it down. Ah, here we go. Hey, look, dear, I won.
That is good.
Whoa, whoa.
So they would also send you to the website where there were games that you could play.
Also, if you go on YouTube and just type in Jimmy Neutron short, there's a bunch of other ones that will be like revived memories from deep in your brain. Because
Oh, yeah.
I had forgotten about the cream corn thing until 2 days ago. We were working on one of the slides, and it was all of a sudden like when you're in a movie, or there's like a movie and a character like loses their memory but gains part of it back, and it's like a montage. That was me on Tuesday.
And I was geographically somewhere else, so you texted me and were like, Amy, you gotta watch the cream corn. I was like, what's the cream corn? And then I was doing something else later. I think I was driving. And then I turned to my husband and I was like, oh my God, the cream corn, the cube, Hugh, I remember it all. So, this is where we start getting into familiar territory, where it spent 2 years, the movie spent 2 years in development, and it was made on software called Lightwave 3D, which was revolutionary for the time because it was essentially like Unity, where it was a commercial platform that they could viably turn into a major project like this, whereas a lot of other companies like Pixar, DreamWorks had their in-house proprietary bespoke software where this was like making a game on Unity essentially, but it's a TV show. So that was a big deal. Yeah, because studios could buy that software and make something like this happen. So the movie was nominated for an Oscar for Best Animated Feature, and that was the first year for that category. But it lost to Shrek. Because Shrek.
But Jimmy Neutron is Academy Award nominated, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then clips from the movie were used in the TV show intro, and then a lot of the assets that they made for it were used in the show afterwards, so it helped clear some of the overhead for that. And some of the character models changed. Let's see, like Jimmy, he covered his knees. He got bashful. And then, like, Carl used to have suspenders. Cindy's hair, she used to have 2 pigtails instead of 1. And she changed outfits. And then Libby's hair and outfit changed halfway through the run of the show.
Nick's outfit changed.
Nick's outfit changed
And
as well.
fun fact, he originally was supposed to be one of the more like central characters, and that's how they set it up in the movie.
Oh, word?
So they didn't do like that. Yeah. He didn't, yeah, I mean, he was in the background. Yeah,
He is enough. And then you notice when you're watching, it was interesting just speed running the series because you notice all the changes in the animation quality and the assets and the rendering. Like the difference between season 1 and 3 is pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also, yeah, it was interesting. This was the first time I had watched it in chronological order from like when it was made, and there's a clear difference in like vibe between season 1 and like say season 3. Like the episodes in season 1, a lot of them were like 12-minute episodes and have a pretty like, you know, lightweight plot, relatively speaking, and Jimmy's not like destroying the town, which is a lot of them, but still. But then season 3, you get into it where the plot lines get a lot more complicated. There's a lot more episodes where it's like aliens or something that Jimmy did not call, and it's not Jimmy's fault for once, which I think he kind of lose some of his charm with that. But yeah, where like one 30-minute episode would be on just like one episode instead of split into 2. So interesting to see how that went along, and something we didn't really notice as kids because we were watching it on cable.
Yeah, but at that point it was syndicated and they were just chopping it up and showing some episodes more than others, which is why some of these episodes were like, I don't remember that, probably because they didn't air it that much, and now I know why. So about the future of Jimmy, it's getting to be about his anniversary. I think it was like his 20th anniversary in 2022.
I think this year it's 22.
But if you count Johnny, Jimmy's eternal. Like, he's older than us. So yeah, the show changed computer animation and animation as a whole. That opened the door for a lot of other 3D animated shows because Jimmy proved that it can be done. Yeah, done quickly and at scale with reusable assets. With commercially available software, which saved time and money for production. The primary show was canceled but rolled into Planet Sheen, which you're familiar with.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about Planet Sheen.
Good.
That's another good one. I talk about Planet Sheen. Yeah, but Nickelodeon had enough episodes for syndication and reruns, so they were like, we don't need you to produce anymore. We've had our fill of Jimbles here. And then the second movie was in production, but then there was infighting and people couldn't agree on what direction the movie was going to go into. And some of those ideas got rolled into the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour.
Oh, word? Yeah.
And there's been on and off rumors of a reboot. Nothing that we know from our research that's official, but you know, there's people our age who have the capacity. You know, you never know. Places like to recycle IP all the time, so maybe that live action show will actually happen someday.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so here's the question for everybody kind of at the start of this. Would you live in Retroville rent-free if your insurance policy did not cover Jimmy's antics?
Raise your hand. Yes. Y'all have a death wish.
That's not what I expected. When I was polling my friends for this, about 7 of us, like 1 second.
Rent is too damn high. It doesn't matter if they're free. But we don't discuss it. So think about this as you're going through the panel as we're reviewing some of the evidence. We'll revisit this question at the end of the panel and see if there's any bullets. But we wanted to kind of break up the rest of this as kind of a retrospective. We had a couple of findings and epiphanies, and we wanted to discuss them. And they're listed here, so a lot of the rest of this will be spent just kind of digging into these things. There's so much that we cannot cover, but we wanted to get some tasty morsels for y'all to chew on.
Alright, so first one, we had this thought while starting the show that Retroville is essentially a city-state within Texas. The state does not, or the show does not overtly say that it's in Texas, but there's this map at one part where they're like going to the Caribbean, and then Goddard has like TX on his license plate. But a couple things with this. Jimmy constantly breaks the US law, so we're thinking, okay, maybe it's like there's some sort of special rules or something within the city-state of Retroville. And then coincidentally, the show's production headquarters was in Texas, so that's probably good.
Yeah, it was in
but
Dallas.
we like to think it's a city-state because that's more fun.
And a lot of the antics are usually confined to just that geographic. Like Texas is on its own power grid, but Retroville is on its own power grid.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's the whole snow episode. There's some real life parallels. Yeah. We're not from Texas, but that's all.
We're from Georgia, but
Wait, correct me if I'm wrong, but just to work this further, did Jimmy actually know the president?
Did he know the? Did
he
Jimmy
did talk to the U.S. government. They did essentially Operation Paperclip him. Twice.
Yeah, several times throughout the show. Yes, yeah. So several times throughout the show, they kind of like call in Jimmy's help, but nobody ever like holds Jimmy accountable for the laws that he breaks. They're like, okay, haha, you silly kid, but how about you build this rocket for us?
He has marginal repercussions later, but not for the things that he should. And we will discuss it.
Oh, we're getting to that.
So next we'd like to talk about a couple of the characters. So Goddard is probably the most design consistent character that we have. We saw him in Johnny Quasar.
He's also probably the most like innocent character.
Yeah, like I like Goddard.
Neutral good,
I like Goddard.
lawful good.
But he's actually named after the rocket scientist Robert H. Goddard, who made the first liquid fueled rocket. And the Space Flight Center is about a 30-minute drive of here, north of here. So yeah, the NASA Goddard Space Center is just a couple miles down the road outside of DC, Maryland. But yeah, I have it in my notes here. He's basically the only lawful neutral character in the show. Exhibit A.
So kind of as we mentioned earlier, Jimmy gets up to a lot of things that are not exactly legal, and he rarely gets held accountable for them. This one mugshot was from an episode where Jimmy actually does go to jail at one point, which I completely forgot. But he gets framed for robbing a bank, but it wasn't actually him who did it. So the one time that he does go to jail, he didn't actually do it, but then of course Carl and Sheen try and break him out, and like Jimmy's asking on the phone like, oh, like can you bring the book that's like shovels and jackhammers, and like wink wink trying to get them to like bring him stuff. And here I'm thinking, as a true crime junkie, I'm like, they're recording that call, you're just incriminating yourself even more.
Wasn't the whole crime you like stole holographic dollars?
Yeah, it was holographic dollar bills.
It was a winking.
Yeah, it was holographic because when you flickered it, George Washington winked at you. Yes. Good memory.
It was only
See, it's starting to tickle the nose.
Yes, it's all coming back to you. So yes.
Yeah, good argument. Retroville must have its own currency then.
Exactly.
You see,
exactly.
Together we are more than the sum of our parts.
I know more about Jimmy Neutron's fucking math equation.
So, yeah, here's a list of some of his many criminal acts.
So, yeah, he experiments on his own friends, grandma, parents, classmates, teachers, without their willing, informed consent.
And I have a panel about ethics tomorrow and research, so this was fun.
Oh, he accidentally tanks an ocean liner, so they're out in the, accidentally. So they're out in the water, and one of his friends hits like an SOS button on the hovercraft, but it's actually a torpedo instead of a flare. And there happens to be an ocean liner, like full cruise ship size looking thing. It hits that and makes explosion noise off screen, and still off screen you hear a bunch of people say, "We're okay," but I'm like, no, you're not. You killed a load of people there.
Well, I like how Jimmy was packing heat.
Yeah.
He's always packing heat though because he's a rocket scientist.
Breaking and entering with rust spray. So there's this one episode where they break into Retroland, and I'm like, yeah, breaking and entering. All right, you're not supposed to be there. Oh, he gets everyone in town addicted to his perfect candy.
There it is.
Predisposed for the opioid.
But it's like the townies and other characters are exhibiting like drug addiction symptoms and stuff. Yeah,
they get violent.
They do. Oh yeah, he brainwashes people all the time. No big deal or anything. He hacks into military plane comms with no repercussions at all. They're like, "Oh, it's you again." It's like, yeah, that's a security threat. He creates the stick patch virus, or the stick patch, which then turns into a virus, and everybody in the school gets it, and they have to go inside of Carl to take the virus. Which, fun fact, that's like when I learned what a virus looks like. He detonates a bomb in the wilderness on the camping trip. His local camp has a self-destruct mode. Let's see, and then a couple other ones I didn't put on here but that are in the notes. He destroys almost every single restaurant in Retroville when he programs the McSpankies to eliminate competition. And then just overall, how much money and property damage has Jimmy caused over the years? Well, that's my rate.
Would he be liable for when the pants?
Would he be liable for the pants? Is there a fund there for embarrassment too?
I don't know. I would like to see what insurance policies are even offered in Retroville.
None.
Not even pants related.
Yeah.
It's like Florida. Well, Texas, Florida. So let's talk about Jimmy's morals and lack thereof.
Let me preface this by saying, I like Jimmy Neutron. I love this show, but he's a little shit. I would say a good 90% of the conflict in the show is born from his inventions or stupid decisions, which he then has to spend the rest of the episode correcting. And usually at the end of the episode, a bunch of people are like, yay, he's a hero, but occasionally you'll have a character like Cindy or something chime in and say like, yeah, but it was your fault in the first place.
Yeah, the points don't count if you caused the problem in the first place and you saved the day.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, and I didn't calculate this. This is just observing this over watching the show.
This is all qualitative, observational study.
Also, there's that one time Jimmy erased his parents' entire 5th year of marriage, which was just kind of thrown in there as a note. I think it was in season 1. It was in the beginning of my notes.
Judy's very nonchalant about it, but I think she's just kind of like, this is the hand I've been
This is my life now.
Do you think I had pie?
Another thing is he's kind of a fun sucker, so he hates fun, unless it's like science related.
Science related.
There's Halloween and Christmas special episodes, both of which he's like a total Scrooge about. So Halloween, he's like, I'm too old to dress up. I'm not gonna do it. Lame. And then the Christmas one, he makes Carl cry by telling him Santa's not real. Which is pretty heartless if you ask me. But then Santa comes in and saves the day, so he gets
So for all those kids that were watching, like, don't believe Jimmy, and like they showed Santa at the end, so like Jimmy didn't spoil it for everybody, but he wanted to.
Yes.
And then there's Hugh. figure in Jimmy's life because like even in the My Son the Hamster episode where like Jimmy swapped. It's like the Fly parody where like he gets the hamster head on Jimmy's body and vice versa.
Are those nuts I smelled?
But like then like Hugh takes him out to like go play ball and other stuff, and he's like, "Oh, Jimmy, you look a little different now." I just call him Furry Jimmy. Like he treats him like, you know, no pretenses, loves him the way he is. And then he starts getting a hold of Jimmy's toys. And then that's when the true Hugh shows his colors and we see where Jimmy really gets it from.
Yeah, so there's several like weird Hugh-isms that I forgot about. The banana one, of course, I remember because I feel like that was like a meme cycling around on Tumblr.
So if you can't read it in the back, it's, oh, when I was 7 years old, I sat on a banana and it.
And well, that changed.
And well, that changed my life forever.
Yeah. Probably one of the most evil things that he does is the episode where he takes the time remote. Remember, he not only gets an angry mob sent after him, but he makes a woman give birth multiple times and watches her like some sort of warrior. So, yeah, that's even, I mean, it was bad already as a kid, like, when he did that, but now as an adult, you're like, oh, God, no. Let's see. Oh, other Hughisms, he dumps all of Jimmy's toxic lab waste in the local lake and creates a mutant turtle
So
monster.
he's an eco-terrorist.
Yes.
Someone call Captain Planet.
Man, he's just a funny guy. Like, one of the episodes, the one in the top left, was a season 3 episode that I actually don't remember seeing at all.
They probably didn't show that one that much because it was a little messy. It was starting to get in Are You Afraid of the Dark territory.
Yeah, it was getting goosebumpsy, but he has his ventriloquist all flippy. Yeah. And of course, Jimmy's trying to help his dad be funny because it's one of his dad's many obsessions, including ducks.
And Jimmy sure knows how to be funny, huh?
Yeah, so Jimmy puts a fun chip into the ventriloquist doll that like syncs up with Hugh's brain, but then of course the ventriloquist doll starts like absorbing Hugh's brain power to the point where he's a zombie pretty much. It's very goosebumpsy.
Yeah, and like he's in bed with Hugh and Judy, and like he's like he wants to take over his life, and it's very strange. And we'll get to that, but there's some unresolved plot points, and this is one of them.
Flippy's never totally dead.
Yeah. So another fun thing about Hugh is that he's actually in the Nickelodeon
Shane.
I'll just show a little bit of this, but yeah, people petitioned for Hugh to be in the fighting game, and here he is.
That is not Tim.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
It's gonna be good.
You saw the eyes, the like they definitely did the research. I think the lightsaber. So we love you, but now let's talk about Carl.
Oh, God.
We messed up our search history so bad.
So about the GIF on there, so I hadn't finished watching the show yet, but I was still kind of starting to compile pictures of the Carl stories. This came up tagged as not safe for work.
You don't say.
And I was like, okay, what is this, some sort of like weird fan thing? No, that's from the actual show when
Nope,
Carl
It's real.
So, yeah, there's a whole episode. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3, but yeah, so essentially what happens, Jimmy and Carl and Sheen are like on an alien planet or asteroid, and Jimmy needs samples of like a pod, exact, like very alien-like. And he has Carl go do it. Well, he goes and hides behind a rock, like a little asshole. And
He's like, oh, you do it, friend.
yeah, and essentially, Carl gets a face hugger, and then he like starts having cravings and pregnancy symptoms. At that point, Jimmy offers him an alien abortion, which I'm totally serious. To which Carl says no. So Jimmy goes to Carl's parents' house to like tell them what's going on, and they're over the moon that they're having a grandchild. And then, because it doesn't stop there, oh no, we're only halfway through this episode. So then, the girls at school throw him a baby shower with like alien baby goods. Like, here's
Where do you get those?
Well, they made first contact now a while ago with Jimmy messing
That's
with
true. They
the
started with the movie. They've already first contact has been established.
Yes. And so, yeah, and his ass just grows and gets jiggly and flowy.
But then as
I hate everything.
She helps him out.
Yeah,
It's a real one.
Well, Carl turns over and is like, it's time. Anyways, he gives birth to like an alien jellyfish Metroid-looking thing, topical for Magfest Metroid. And then the alien mother comes back to Earth to take the baby back. Oh, Carl names the baby Schmango. And then there's like a time skip of like card 1 month forward, and they're back on the planet celebrating Schmango's birthday.
They got invited. They're like part of the family.
And then that's the end of that. You never hear anything else about Schmango, nothing else about Carl, like, having a baby.
Yeah, what kind of custody does Carl have over Schmango?
We'll never know.
You want to talk about his,
Yeah, Preg aside, then there's also this whole situation with his Judy obsession.
Jimmy's mom.
Miss Fowl, too. He's just really into MILFs.
Well, I think it mostly started with Miss Fowl in season 1. Like, there's a couple episodes where he's like, hey guys, don't you think Miss Fowl is kinda... And
Or like in the right lighting, don't you think?
Yeah. But then there's a love potion episode where Jimmy invents a love potion where they'll fall in love with the first person that they see, and of course, Carl sees Judy Neutron first. And from that point on, he's obsessed with her to the point of endangering Hugh's life and like pasting his face over pictures. And he has a bunch of lines where it's like, oh, I'm gonna miss Jimmy's mom. And the other two are like, what? And he's like, nothing.
Yeah, like they're about to die, and he's like, Jimmy, tell your mom I love her. And it's like, then they live afterward, and it's like, how do you go forward from that? You wish you would have done.
Yeah, so there's there's the picture, and then the episode where she's in the jar, that's actually Professor Calamitous. So that's in the second Jimmy Power.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
That's the last time I seen it. And then Carl asked Cosmo to make him look like Judy trapped in the jar. Because that's totally thing to wish for.
This is all just great setup for a lifetime.
Yeah, and then, I don't know, there's just other episodes where he's a little shit to Jimmy. He's very envious of Jimmy and like his smarts in his life and tries to impersonate him at points.
I dream of Jimmy.
Episode where they're in Carl's dreams, like he thinks
There it is.
very little of Jimmy, even though he's jealous of him. And there's like a superiority complex, among other complexes that he has.
But Rob Paulson, who's done a million voices, does a great job as Carl, and also half the
Scabula.
characters in the show. So half the show is Rob Paulson talking to him.
Yeah, the principal is also Rob Paulson, plus a bunch of the like townies and stuff. So we don't have a lot of time to talk about Sheen, but we just wanted to.
I stand corrected.
But also, he does have some pretty good one-liners in there, and we did get the spin-off show.
Which we didn't watch. So
Sorry.
We're not going to talk about that. Sorry.
Look,
I
work a full-time job. I didn't have time to jibble every night, just every other.
I did. I had to. I had independent choice.
And then I want to mention a quick note about Judy.
She is honestly the most competent character in the entire show. Even in the creamed corn episode, now watching this again, like she's talking about fixing the car and like the AC unit. Like she is way more smart and capable than Hugh is.
So I think that's where Jimmy gets it, and
Yeah.
like that, there's a prevailing theory that she was like an engineer or something before she was a stay-at-home mom, because you get little bits in here and there that are like, I should have never given up my career. And she knows how to fit, like sometimes you'll see her tinkering on the car and stuff, and I hope she's happy, but she also has to deal with 2 children.
Yeah, she's way more capable and competent than both of them. I don't know. Well, I kind of feel like I answered my question. I don't know why Hugh's not the stay-at-home dad, but he can't do anything.
There was one time she tried to leave them a weaponized incompetence.
Yeah.
But we should probably move on to a couple less prominent things that
Yeah, so I think this is one of those things where like the reruns made me think that Bolby was in the show more than he was. He's introduced in season 2, but he's actually not in that many seasons as like a prominent character.
I think they just showed those episodes more.
It was the Space Macbeth one that I saw. Which he actually has a really cool role in. So I fondly remember Bolby and was happy to see him in episodes when he was there. Another thing, you know, Brain Blast I feel like is synonymous with Jimmy Neutron in addition to Gotta Blast, but Brain Blast only happens about a third of the episodes.
We are lacking in Blast.
Yeah, which you think would happen a lot more often, but it's just one of those things they reserve for like really, I don't know.
I guess near-death experiences.
Yeah, like really like innovative solutions. So,
when the plot allows for like Chekhov's insert object here to kind of play into things. So let's talk about unresolved plot lines.
Yeah, so the first one that really sticks out is the episode where Jimmy's trying to like win the track race at school, and so he creates these shoes that allow him to run fast, but then he can't stop running to the point where like he can't get help, and the only way he's able to stop it is by causing friction on the like spinny, I don't know what that's called.
Like the merry-go-round on the playground.
But he flings off of it and becomes a ball of goo. And the episode ends with his friends laughing and poking at him, and that never gets resolved.
Season 1.
Yeah, so we don't know how he regains his
and then
form. Yeah, it just.
And then what about the not Furbies?
Yeah, the Twonkies. So after the Twonky episode, so real quick on the Twonkies episode. So what happens is it a play on the?
I think it's a play on the Star Trek script.
Yes. Where essentially, like, they pick up one, and then it keeps having babies, and it keeps multiplying, and then they, when exposed to, like, music, they turn demonic and start attacking everybody. So they get rid of all of them except for Sheen's Twonky, because his was the only one that didn't go crazy because he sucks at singing. And his music was so bad it didn't offend the Twonkies. In just about every episode from there on out, there's like a hidden Twonky in the episode, like showing that like
there's Easter eggs.
Yeah, but showing that like no, they're still around. So they're still infesting here.
So that prior comment about Florida, this is an invasive species. So. And then the one on the left is the school, and I think that was from Space Macbeth because of the weather machine.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we just don't know how the school ended up back in Retroville.
No, it's teetering around at the end.
And then we specifically watched the episode on the right in the different order because one of our friends had a theory about this.
Yeah, so I actually watched the whole show and then watched the Nightmare in Retroville episode last.
The sleepover one.
Because that episode ends with the pizza waking up from the nightmare of the kids. And then the wife pizza is like, oh dear, don't worry, there's no such thing as children. Which begs the Question, is the entirety of Jimmy Neutron just a nightmare that a pizza's having?
Yes. Makes you
They
think.
didn't say no, so...
So that's an
Makes you wonder,
interesting
doesn't
thing
it?
to think about.
Does that mean Fairly Odd Parents is a nightmare too?
You could argue Fairly Odd Parents is a
I'd argue.
That would be a separate panel next year. But speaking of interesting things to ponder, how about things you like to eat in Jimmy Neutron?
Oh, God. If you'll notice, one of these things is not like the others.
Yeah, one of them is a liquid.
Space movies. Yeah, ever since the book, even now as an adult, I'm like, I'd like to eat that. So, yeah, there's several things in Jimmy. And I'd like to eat the cream corn. This is as close to purple farp as we're getting. I tried to find grape Fanta everywhere. It is so hard to find it. Are you gonna drink that?
I found
I don't
mine
really
at the
like-
Family Dollar I was at
Yeah, I was
yesterday.
hoping I'd find grape Fanta. No luck.
And then, yeah, the candy, that's the addictive candy. But you want to eat that, you want to have a problem.
I mean, it looks like it's fun to eat.
Don't at me like that.
So, let's talk about Jimmy Timmy a little bit.
Yeah!
So overall, there were 3 Timmy Jimmy Power Hours. I think it's really interesting. It's a really unique crossover, and I can't say I've watched a lot of like recent Nickelodeon in the last, I don't know, 10 years, but
not missing
it's
much.
just a really creative concept. However, some of the characters definitely translate better between 2D and 3D.
An interesting design challenge.
Meaning
for sure.
that the Jimmy Neutron characters usually translate pretty well into Fairly Odd Parent style, but the reverse, he kind of
No.
like Jordan, and then Chester's teeth are like over half of his face.
Well, because the characters in Fairly Odd Parents are meant to be seen from like a cheating profile view only, like you never see them rotate, they kind of just flip.
Yeah.
And you can't really do that.
Overall though, one thing it made me realize, Timmy is more evil than Jimmy.
Yeah.
He's a lot more ill-spirited. I don't know how to describe it.
If you'd like us to watch the entirety of Fairly Odd Parents and come back next year for a panel, rate us on the app.
No, just don't make me watch all of it again. I stopped watching before the whole poof thing, which is really interesting because you got Preg and Jimmy Neutron, and you got Preg and Fairly Odd Parents. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, Timmy has his motivations are a lot darker and more self-centered than Jimmy's are. So the Timmy Jimmy Power Hours make Jimmy look like a much better character.
They're all unhinged, but some of them are on the doorframe more than others.
Yeah, and then it also reminded me like how insanely chaotic Fairly Odd Parents is, which I hadn't seen that in a long time, several years. It kind of annoyed me, to be honest. That's why I'm like, don't make me do a Fairly Odd Parents panel. I don't want to watch it all. I can watch 30 episodes plus 4 specials of Jimmy Neutron. I don't even know how many Fairly Odd Parents episodes there are now.
Too many.
Too many. That was one that ran a lot longer.
Channel Chasers is great. I do like Channel Chasers. That was
It has its moments.
And it was for the purpose of comparing Jimmy and Timmy specifically up to the point where these
Specials.
air. Would you be able to do that?
I don't know.
Yeah, the question was, would we be able to watch up to the point of the Power Hours? The early Fairly Odd Parents I thought was pretty good.
It was, but my tolerance as an adult for it.
Yeah, some things age like a fine wine, and some things age like
Milk.
leaving garbage in the trunk of your car. But there's another thing that we also thought about that was really cool in our research, and that's weird artifacts.
Oh.
So some of you might have had experience with some of these. And before we get started with that, I'd like to thank the lovely person who gave us this Jimmy Neutron versus Jimmy Negatron video game for our collection. So thank you, fine person, for this cursed family heirloom. I love it.
We're honored that the curse is now transferred to us. Thank you.
So let's talk about some of the things that are on here. So you actually ate Captain Crunch to to pregame for this.
Oh yeah, I did. So when I watched, so this past weekend, the 3-day weekend, I was like, crap, Magfest is coming up soon. I gotta finish all of season 3. And Amy was like, oh man, it's like you're a kid again. Maybe you should get some breakfast cereal. I'm like, that's a good idea. So on the way home from work, I went and bought a family-sized box of Captain Crunch. My mouth still hurts.
People gave hints on how to eat Captain Crunch where it doesn't hurt your gums.
Yeah, there's something that you chew it kind of on the sides more, and then go to the middle, you run.
You see, you learn practical stuff in that.
And I just do milk with it. Look, I got it extra crunchy.
And then we got so the games that are down there, those are the Game Boy Advance versions of the 4 Jimmy Neutron games that came out. But those also came out on like GameCube, PlayStation, like it was all shovelware that you could, was promotional. Jimmy at Universal, because there was a Universal experience there in the park in Florida.
Rest in peace.
Weird Happy Meal toys like this Scooty Tall Jimmy, ice cream, plushies, Happy Meal toys.
Oh, that one in the top right, that was a Burger King promotion. They like connected together.
I don't remember that. That was for the movie. They connected all together. Yeah. And then the hockey jersey, that's actually my local hockey team. That's a real jersey.
Oh, word?
They got the rights for it, and I see people with signed Jimmy Neutron jerseys whenever I go see the Atlanta Gladiators play. Because minor league hockey does like Nicktoons nights sometimes, and somehow we got Jimbles.
We were blessed.
We were blessed.
That jersey's like $500.
What was that?
Sorry. That jersey, hold on, that jersey is $500.
Yeah, we haven't been able to get it, unfortunately.
But yeah, sorry for that jump scare. Let's look at him again. Here's Johnny.
Here's Jimmy. So yeah, this was an early Jimmy model. I saw him like a behind the scenes.
Yeah, that was concept art for Johnny Quasar.
I think I went blind.
I don't think it would have lasted 3 seasons. But yeah, as I was watching through these, made a list of some quintessential episodes of like what I thought of Jimmy Neutron that reminded me of the charm of the show and the like fun type of like vibe.
Some of the highlights and the highs.
Yes.
Like if you go back and watch, you'll probably have a good time with these.
I mean, some of them are still kind of cursed, let's be honest, they've all got a little bit of that in them. But then there's the really cursed episodes. The ones where either I would see it in like the Up Next and I was like, oh no.
Oh.
Or they aired it. They didn't air those that much.
Yeah, so like the Who's Your Mommy, that's the Carl M. Craig one. Like, I only remember seeing that maybe once, and there's probably a good reason why. Let's see what else we got.
I did remember seeing My Son the Hamster a lot though. Because I always thought that Jimmy's hamster body looked like a little roast chicken.
Yeah, I put these together and now I don't remember which one the Fundemonium was. Flippy is the one with the ventriloquist doll that sucks teeth by force.
Fundemonium is the one with the, he works for the toy company.
Oh!
Gotta go potty!
Okay, real quick. So that's the episode I thought of when I first thought of, oh, let's do a Jimmy Neutron panel, because I was talking to my friends and I'm like, hey, do you remember that episode where Hugh goes to work for the toy company and then he makes a doll and the doll pees in the town? And then everyone's like, what are you talking about?
So even though when one of the toys gets really big, it resolves by peeing itself and short-circuiting.
Yeah, and they never resolve if that's actual urine or not. It's just,
Ew.
gotta go potty. So, yeah, real weird.
That raises more questions.
Oh, that's the one where they go into Carl's dream, and it's after going through Carl's slide, it's pretty messed up.
There's a lot of fun for that slide.
Yeah, Granny Baby is the one where he turns his grandma into a baby who can talk, and it's just really disturbing.
And that was not the first time he experimented on his grandma either. He magnetized her on another visit because the parents when they're leaving are like, no, Jimbo, don't run experiments on your grandma, what to do. And he's like, oh, I promise. And then he's like, I don't know. They need to have a talk with him about grandma, you fed your grandma an unknown substance. There's so many layers of wrong ethics in there, but it's experimenting on your own family.
Real quick, all the babies in Jimmy Neutron are the same model.
There's also some recolor models of other things,
Steve
who works at McSpankies, like anybody. So you watch all the episodes in a line and you start to see the reused assets where it's like, it's that person, but blonde this time.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
And then the resurgence of Jimmy in the zeitgeist because of
So long, Gebazo.
One of my favorites is Jibbles, of course.
Hello, my name is Jibbles on Trombo. I like the burger one because you sent me one with the caption, when you're a snack but nobody hungry.
Yeah, there's some there's some very inappropriate and offensive ones on Google Images, but there's some funny ones.
You don't
too.
say.
And that's what happens when Gen Z rediscovers Jimmy after it's gone in hibernation and it's been off the air, or is on Paramount Plus, or on your bootleg site, or when people like us start to think of these things and the blender of our minds.
And now say we're spreading it to you. Go watch Jimmy Neutron.
So with all that being said, I know we're drawing toward the end of our evening together, and we've had a really lovely time. But we have to ask you again, would you live in Retroville rent-free if your insurance policy didn't cover Jimmy's antics?
No.
Just food for thought. The question is, do you rent or do you own the house? Would having a mortgage make a difference?
No.
That's true. It is a little bit cheaper.
Insurance companies.
I think it was underrated.
And I agree. He didn't deserve the crap from Jimmy about the study before, I think. That was just
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick,
So we got. I know we're getting close to time, but so real quick, thank you for being with us this evening. Welcome to Magfest. If you like this panel and want more like it, please rate on the app. It lets them know that they want us to come back. We are allowed to come back.
who knows? You might see another cartoon next year. Probably not Fairly Odd Parents, but maybe something else.
These are our handles if you're looking for them, but to play us out, we've got a little.
And real quick, thank you so much for all your energy tonight.
Yes.
This is the biggest panel crowd I've ever had, so thank you for that. And thank you for living.
Here we go. We'll finish with some Hue for you.
Chase. Mom, Dad, I want a little brother.
Oh, yeah.
Baby making is very complicated.
It's not complicated, really. It's basically conception, right? Then a 9-month gestation. If the blended or timeline goes...
Listen up, okay. I want pie.
I want pie.
Oh, you don't, Mr. Muscles. If you hurt your back lifting those, you'll be no use to me tonight on our third honeymoon. What I want...
Oh, damn it, I just got that one.
Arranged. My instincts feel better on the produce bin.
Yeah, grapes. Gotta get them before they turn into raisins, because after that,
Your father got overexcited and ate a bolt that fell off a grocery cart. Oh, Mother Neutron!
Hi, Granny.
Jimmy, you took my clothes. You carry my pills. Syrup, salve, serums, girls.
I think we're assuming this is Hugh's mom.
Miscellaneous.
Chili cake's only just 5 minutes from here. You doggy doors, free spirit. Rule, Wind is our minister of tree love. Gotcha.
I think Jimmy and his friends will be even better.
Yeah, they better. I paid $125 for these tickets.
Hugh, this is a free school function.
Doors, Yeah, I want my money back! Not that I paid it. I lost all sorts of races when I was your age. Thought it turned out okay, huh? Sure, the trampoline's left a scar or two, but that's basically all.
Look, this one's shaped like President Grover Cleveland. All right, now, come on. Eyes on the ball. George Perry taught me this one's a knuckleball, eh? Knuckleball. You gotta keep the glove up, Jimmy. Now, this one's a split-seam fastball.
Well, he's dead.
So, which kid's yours?
I was a fly out. I didn't pursue.
Well, in this house, we never judge people by the motor color of their skin.
Here's your breakfast here.
Thank you, sugar boy.
This is bread. Soft, floppy, untoasted, non-crunchy bread. You know, you missed 2 days of school, and I don't want your brain to rot, so guess what? I'm gonna homeschool you.
And on that note,
Don't you have to go to work?
well, that's the end of day one. I hope you all enjoyed that panel. I know I did, as you can probably hear. So, well, I'm back in my hotel room. I'm gonna rest a little bit, then go to bed, then wake up and have breakfast, and see where the day takes me. I'll catch y'all later for day two.
Watch Duncan go, he can really rock and roll. He can slip, he can slide,